Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill came face to face, and fans definitely have some things to say about that. We'll also check out what's up with Royce Keys and more. Starting things off with Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, because a lot of mixed reactions are going on right now about this situation. As we talked about earlier this week, Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill sparked this massive flame of fan interest with her WrestleMania matchup after getting into a deep exchange of words online with each other. It got ugly, things got personal, lines were definitely crossed. It was absolute mayhem that had the entire WWE universe buzzing and talking about Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. They were the talk of the town right after that social media exchange. Not Punk versus Roman, not Cody Rhodes, no one else at all. The hottest topic in WWE amongst the fans for those few days there was Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill's situation. Jade Cargill completely demolished the fourth wall, claiming that she actually wanted to face Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, but how the WWE creative team always boosts Rhea Ripley to the top of the card around WrestleMania season every year. Jade Cargill even claiming that Rhea Ripley spends hours talking to the creative team to make sure she's on top of the card in WWE. It's a fourth wall that we never really see so blatantly destroyed like that, so it generated a lot of buzz and conversation. Then you had the deleted Instagram story from Rhea Ripley, and directly calling out Jade Cargill for not knowing how to build up hype for a match without lying and breaking the fourth wall in ways that actually hurts the person behind the WWE character, which is exactly what Jade did when she started making claims that Rhea Ripley is only in the title picture at WrestleMania due to conversations that Rhea personally has with the creative team. It was such a weird thing for a WWE superstar to say to another superstar. Obviously, everyone knows how WWE works. Obviously, the winners are predetermined. Everyone's destiny is technically controlled by the creative team, but you just never really hear a superstar really bring up the creative team in universe. And if they did, it was subtle and indirect. Like Bray Wyatt early in his career, he used to talk about not having the machine behind him. Obviously, that was a creative way of him saying the higher ups in the company weren't really backing him. But for one superstar to say to the other that they're only in this top position right now because of conversations they had with the creative team, that's pretty insane and unusual to publicly say. But no matter how out of bounds things got there with that social media exchange, the jabs worked and the fans were suddenly buzzing about Rhea and Jade. And the March 6th edition of Smackdown already had a face-to-face segment between Rhea and Jade booked. So this presented a great opportunity for WWE to jump in and build on top of what Rhea and Jade started online earlier in the week. The creative team was not behind the social media exchange. That was something Rhea and Jade did on their own, but it worked to generate a massive buzz. All the creative team had to do was take what was given to them by that social media exchange and keep it going. Find a way to make that spark and fan intrigue even stronger. Give us something to really talk about with what will keep the hype going for Rhea versus Jade. And did we end up getting that from this face-to-face? Unfortunately, we did not. It's not to say that the face-to-face was completely bad, but this segment had so much hype surrounding it because of the social media interaction from earlier in the week. And they just did not build or add on to what was already in place. It felt flat, and it feels like whatever buzz was going on there from the social media argument flamed out here with this overall weak face-to-face segment. People weren't expecting it to get too crazy, but we expected at least something along the lines of what we've been seeing with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Punk and Roman have had a few face-to-face segments with each other recently, and each one gives us a few lines where you sit back and ask yourself, how could he say that to him? He really went there. With Rhea and Jade's face-to-face, we did not get any of that. All they did was compliment each other's physical appearance and talk about how much respect they had for each other. And what made this segment even more awkward is the fact that Rhea and Jade were just coming off that heated social media exchange where no compliments were being exchanged and a lot of disrespect and jabs were being thrown. So everyone expected for them to keep that same exact energy for the face-to-face, and that wasn't the case at all. A lot of fans are poking fun at this segment because it's similar to something you see in everyday life. People go back and forth with each other online, say the craziest of things, get disrespectful and drop non-stop disses. But then when they're face-to-face with each other, all of a sudden nobody wants to do anything and they want to keep the peace. You see that a lot in everyday life, and that's exactly what Rhea and Jade recreated here on Smackdown. So much words to say to each other online, saying the most craziest things. But when you're face to face with each other, the only thing you could do is compliment each other's muscles. That's what made this segment feel so flat and awkward. Fans were looking at this segment as the sequel to the social media exchange, and nothing was built on top of that exchange. It actually felt more like a reset. Obviously, the social media exchange was something that WWE had no say in, so maybe they wanted to erase that and give them this segment as a blank canvas for their WrestleMania program with each other. Maybe that's what they were trying to do, but it's just unfortunate because Jade and Rhea naturally created a big buzz for their match, and it feels like the March 6th edition of Smackdown just erased that progress and flattened a lot of that extra hype that was going on. Still, you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. There's a lot of time left until WrestleMania. Maybe they can still turn it into a great storyline and feud, but the first face-to-face was a little rough. On this entire road to WrestleMania, the overall storylines in general have been more on the weaker side. There's a lot of great matchups popping up on the WrestleMania card, but when you really try to dive into the storylines surrounding these matches, there's not much really there to dive into. But again, there's still a lot of time left, so hopefully these next few weeks will add much more needed depth to all these WrestleMania 42 storylines. Someone that a lot of fans have been asking about in recent weeks is Royce Keys. Royce Keys made his WWE debut at the Royal Rumble as one of the biggest and most shocking surprises of the night. There were rumors circulating that he's signed with WWE, but no one expected them to use him that suddenly, especially in the Royal Rumble match. So it was this big, pleasant surprise. But the biggest issue is that we have not seen Royce Keys on the main WWE television programming ever since the Royal Rumble, and his status has been a burning question from the community over the last few months. Well, according to WrestleVotes, nothing new has come up at all in regards to plans for Royce Keys. They have been continuing to be radio silent regarding his usage, meaning that we most likely won't see him in the immediate future. This is making a lot of fans question the purpose of even debuting him at Royal Rumble. What was the point of that if no plans were in place? And if you watch the WWE Unreal series, the answer is actually within some of the things they mention on that show. WWE, as of late, they don't really map things out that much. They're more into the business of just creating these standalone, shocking individual moments with not much follow-up behind it. The example we always use is John Cena's heel turn. They created this insane individual shocking moment of John Cena and The Rock joining forces, but there was anything mapped out for them to do beyond that point. It's looking like a similar thing is happening here with Royce Keys. They had him appear at the Royal Rumble for that individual shocking moment itself and to grab a few headlines with a surprise debut, but there were never actually any immediate plans for him mapped out on the main roster. So his debut was just meant to be an individual moment, and we're still waiting for his actual debut when he'll become a regular appearing superstar. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.